the Bengals, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase gets 14.3 points because of PPR and just getting kind of the short yardage kind of stuff that was going on. He wasn't excited after the game. I don't know if you saw that quote.
No, I did see that.
They said, what's going on? Were you just not getting open? And he said, I'm open. I'm always freaking open. Yeah, that's how that went. He was not afraid to. And then he apologized. He said, excuse my profanity. Anyways, that is just 14.3. I mean, I think just. And then 4.7 for Joe Burrow. 20 for 30, 165 yards, no touchdowns. They have 3 offensive touchdowns on the year as a team.
Oh.
3 offensive touchdowns in 4 games. Like, what's going on? What is happening? This is for real until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, Joe Burrow shouldn't be started. Jared, good on you for dropping him. Like, my goodness, what the heck?
I want everyone watching to contemplate this and leave it in the comments whether you should just bench Joe Burrow, because this is obviously for real. No one's gonna roll him out. But let's have a conversation here whether you should bench Joe Burrow or if we actually need to drop him. Before you answer, I'm gonna read some stats just to show how bad Joe Burrow is, because unequivocally, Joe Burrow this season is the worst quarterback in the NFL. Statistically, he is the worst, okay? Obviously, in fantasy, he's averaging less than 8 points a game. Remember, there are 32 teams in the NFL. He is 34th in quarterback rating. 34th. He's 32nd in completion percentage. He is 33rd in total net passing yards. He is 34th in yards per attempt. He's tied for last in total passing touchdowns. And he's 34th in passing touchdown percentage. The only categories that he's not 32nd or worse is passing yards, 26th, longest passing play, 27th, and interceptions, tied for 13th, and total completions, tied for 15th. And as you said it too, the Bengals are 32nd. They're the worst offense in the NFL. Bench or drop Joe Burrow?
If you bench him, okay, I'll say bench. But I need like 3 good games in a row out of Joe Burrow on my bench to feel good about putting him back into my starting lineup. So am I holding Joe Burrow through potentially the next 4 weeks of waiver wire ads? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You can drop Joe Burrow. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. And this is not what we thought we were signing up for this year at all. We had Jamar Chase being you had him as your number 1 receiver, Wes. I had him in top 3, top 4 or something like that. But it was just like, what are we missing here? Like, what's going on? Maybe it's the calf. The O-line looks bad. Maybe it's the lack of a run game. Maybe it's freaking mind games because he got paid a freaking boatload of money this year.
Maybe.
I don't know what it is, but this Bengals team is bad. This Bengals, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. Let alone I had them being in the Super Bowl. I had them as my Super Bowl team for the AFC this year. I had a Niners Bengals Super Bowl. Maybe I'm halfway right on that, but this is a bad football team. I don't understand what happened. I
have no idea.
Maybe it's the O-line. Maybe it's this injury. I don't know. But this is not good. This is not good. Joe Burrow can be dropped. Jamar Chase, I think even through the poor play of Joe Burrow, he's still last week he had a really solid game. This week he gets 14.3. Jamar Chase is still a lineup lock in my eyes because I think he's too talented to be out of your lineup.
Fair.
But you have to very much temper your expectations for what you were hoping for this year out of Jamar Chase when you potentially took him 101. He was going 101 in leagues. This team looks bad.
I feel so good, and my apologies to the troller that I traded Jamar Chase to in our Trollers League and got Tyreek Hill as my replacement. And I told a friend of mine, he has Jamar Chase in a league that I'm in, and he was asking me, what do I do? And I'll just share this, and we'll move on after. I said it's probably best to try to trade Jamar Chase. And I shared that I was able to. It was after week 2 I traded and got Tyreek Hill. So it wasn't like I just did this like yesterday or something. But are you going to make playoffs with Jamar Chase on your team? I don't know. I don't know at this rate. Because if you want to hold out for Joe Burrow to finally go on IR and heal from his calf injury and finally kick into gear well enough for you to succeed in the fantasy postseason, I don't think you'll even make playoffs with Jamar Chase. So try to seek a trade, see what happens, but people are buying out. And here on 4th and Troll, friggin' Joe Burrow, you can drop him.
Friggin' Joe Burrow. Listen, that's a good segue here because I'm going to ask, I'm going to list a couple names here, just rapid fire off real quick, because if we're going to try and trade Jamar Chase, you got to try and get some sort of value back for him. Would you trade Jamar Chase for Jalen Waddle, Wes?
Am I receiving Jamar Chase or am I receiving the other player?
You would be sending away Chase in every one of these names I'm going to list off here. Would you trade away Jamar Chase for Jalen Waddle? Straight up.
Plus another, straight up? No.
So you need something a little more there. Okay, that's
I want the wide receiver one.
Sure. Would you trade Jamar Chase for Calvin Ridley?
Calvin Ridley's not done that great.
It's tough.
But I believe the Jaguars will turn it around because we saw them do it last year. Okay, I'll think about that one.
Okay.
I would think about that.
Would you trade Jamar Chase for Jacoby Myers in a piece? Jacoby Myers in a flex piece for Jamar Chase?
I don't think so. I don't think Jacoby Myers
I would
has
do that
enough.
deal.
You would do that deal?
I would do that deal, and I might send that deal out tomorrow potentially. I think I think Jacoby. We made a joke about it, but when Jimmy Garoppolo was playing quarterback for the Raiders, the targets go of 1 to 2 places. It goes to Devontae Adams or it goes to Jacoby Myers. It doesn't go to Josh Jacobs. It doesn't go to Austin Hooper. It doesn't go to Michael Mayer. It doesn't go to Hunter Renfrow. It doesn't go to anybody else. Jacoby Myers has seen 22 targets in 2 games with Jimmy Garoppolo. 11 targets a game with Jimmy Garoppolo right now. 11 targets a game, I'm like, dope. Count me in. I think Jacoby Myers in a piece I would do for Jamar Chase. Let me do one more here. Let's do one more. Would you trade... Yeah, here, this is a good one. Would you trade Jamar Chase straight up for Nico Collins?
That is my favorite. That is my favorite. What a hilarious scenario.
Right.
That's where we're at in this point where I would say, yeah.
I think I would too.
You have to erase the draft pick. You have to just, at this point, just forget what pick you took, Jamar Chase, and you just have to say, I need the better player because nobody can trade for Puka Nacua right now. He is untouchable. He is undroppable. I'm sure he's locked in by some fantasy leagues that you can't drop Puka because they don't want you to make a mistake. Puka is second in receiving yards. If anyone after week 1 would be like, oh, I'll give you Jamar Chase for Puka Nacua, everyone would be like, who is the idiot that traded away Jamar Chase? Right now, it's very likely that I would trade Jamar Chase to acquire Nico Collins.
Yeah. Yeah, listen,
What
there's some
happened?
context for you guys. If you're a Jamar Chase owner, maybe send out some of those deals. See if you would do that there. That is definitely something to look at.